Hey everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Blair Richardson. I'm 26 years old and I'm from Calgary, Alberta. When I was 21, I was diagnosed with a blood cancer called myelodysplastic syndrome and have been living with it ever since. And I'm also happy to represent YAC as a YACCtivist as well as in many other ways. So for a year and a half now, I have been writing some blogs for the Yak website, and I really don't enjoy writing all that much. So I decided after a year and a half of kind of making myself suffer, I'm gonna give this video blog a try, and see how it goes. So hopefully it works. I'm gonna one shot it like Kareen does, no notes, and hopefully what I say makes sense to you all. So for this video blog, it was mentioned to me by Leslie and Angie that they would like a follow-up to a blog that I wrote just over a year ago. It seems to be April 16th, 2020 was when it came out, and it's called The Whole 6 Feet, Our Relationship Through Cancer and COVID-19. So if you haven't checked that blog out, I will make sure the link is below. Make sure to check that out first, or else what I'm saying isn't going to make a ton of sense. But to quickly recap that was written fairly early on in the COVID pandemic. My girlfriend Ashley and I had been dating for just over a year at that point. And with the COVID pandemic starting and me still going through treatment and still fairly immunocompromised, we made the unfortunate decision to stop spending physical time together. And that was really, really hard for us. Um, I reread my thoughts from the blog, and it takes me back to how sad I was during that time. Our main methods of communication were chatting on the phone or playing Animal Crossing together. I can remember a few months after there were some food truck drive-throughs in Calgary, and we would go and sit 6 feet apart in the parking lot, and all we wanted to do was hold each other's hands, but we just didn't feel safe enough to do that. And that wasn't sustainable for us. We're both people who like physical touch and like to be around our significant others, and so we knew that wasn't going to last for forever. Um, and so after a few months of trying to figure out this pandemic, I talked to my doctor and I talked to Ashley, and we had some good conversations. And Ashley's lease was expiring in June, and we decided, you know what? We're just going to do it. We're just going to move into it with each other, and that way we can face this COVID pandemic together. And see what it brings us. So I talked to my doctor, and he said, you know what, the summertime's probably the best time to do it. It's when COVID's going to be the quietest. So move in, enjoy your life, kind of thing. Don't live in fear. And so in June of last year, we decided to move in together, and it was a great decision, but it's come with its own challenges since then. Um, Probably the biggest challenge is pre-COVID, I was starting to develop some germophobic tendencies. Being immunocompromised, things like colds and flus definitely worried me, as well as well, I wouldn't say they're regular, but other kinds of infections. So, in the lead up to my bone marrow transplant in 2016, I got a staph infection on my leg. So, one of my big fears was staph infections and where is that bacteria coming from and all of those kinds of things. And it wasn't at the point where it was controlling my life. And then the COVID pandemic happened, and that germophobic just really ramped up. Um, and um, yeah, it's become a huge source of anxiety in my life. Um, for a while there, it was definitely controlling my life, my fear of germs and what's coming in the house, and oh, I can't touch anything for a week because I read this one article that COVID lives on something for that long. And it was really, really stressful, and it was creating a lot of burden on Ashley because I would panic if I thought she spread a germ somewhere, even though I know she was trying to be as careful as she can and that I was overreacting. It was my brain that was really controlling me, and that became quite a strain in our relationship. And eventually, I realized like I'm suffering through this germophobic stuff, and so is Ashley, um, by my tendencies, kind of thing. And so I decided to um, really start trying to tackle it through therapy as well as some anti-anxiety medications. And I like to think I have a bit more of a grip on it now, and that's something I'm going to have to write a blog about on its own, is my dealing with the germophobic things. But yeah, it's still a bit of a strain on Ashley and I's relationship, my fear. But we have managed to get past it, and we do have a fairly healthy home life now. Um, the other big thing that has really been upsetting me throughout the course of this pandemic is the people who say, well, if you're immunocompromised and you're in danger, just stay home. Well, I do. I stay home all day long. I sit here. This computer that I'm sitting in front of is my life. I sit on it most of the day, not doing anything. I don't work because I can't, because of my treatments and everything. And so I mostly just sit in front of this computer and play video games and chat with people all day long. But Ashley can't. She can't stay home. She works with kids who have suffered a lot of trauma in their life, and they have in person, like they need to be in person to be able to help them. And she has to go to work every day. And so it's the big fear in our minds of what's coming to her work and what's going to come home with her. And yeah, that's causing a huge amount of stress in our lives, especially now that it seems like COVID's ramping up for a third wave. Um, but we also have that glimmer of hope. Soon, hopefully, there'll be a vaccine out there on the horizon. Um, could be a few weeks, could be a few months, but we both can't wait for that to happen. It looks like I'll be vaccinated a little bit before her, which um, is going to be nice for me to be vaccinated and then for her to be quite close behind me. So yeah, that's the biggest things, is just get along with living with someone, your significant other, for the very first time. We're definitely tackling these challenges of making sure that I'm safe, but also managing irrational stress, um, and dealing with the outside world that seems to be a little less supportive of um, our relationship and how we want to live our lives. Unfortunately, other people being selfish towards their feelings and not thinking about everyone, which I know is a huge talking point of this pandemic and something that a lot of people have been dealing with. Yeah, so hopefully this video blog style worked out. I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'll definitely have to watch this back. But if you see it on the YACC website, apparently I thought it was pretty good. So let me know what you think. I'll make sure to get the YACC information listed below if you want to reach out to me and chat. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you hopefully in the next one.